Hi guys, it's Sam from Creatively Sam's, and today I've made a reversible pumpkin topiary. This was made mostly with dollar store items. And why is it called reversible? Because this is the other side. This was really easy to make, a little time consuming because there's a lot of paint to wait to dry, but other than that, it's pretty nice. So, if you want to see how I did this, stay tuned. It's coming up next. I am going to try very, very carefully with an X-Acto knife to get this sign out of this block of wood. And I'm just going to keep going back and forth until I get it to break loose. Okay, I got this sign out of there. Now I want to try and dig this out to keep going with the channel. Okay, I got this off of this. I tried to scrape it out and ended up breaking my X-Acto knife. I don't actually need this. I was going to use it as a stand, and I may get my son or my husband to get a Dremel tool and clean this up, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to take these off. This, I'm going to give it a good base coat of white to try and get rid of the design on here, because I think it's just, well, I really don't care for this. The only reason I bought it was for the size. So, and I've just got a sponge brush because I'm base coating. I'm not doing any detail work. And I haven't quite decided what color I'm going to do this yet. I'm kind of liking this shade of the orange. It's a yellowish orange. And I like the yellow that's in the sunflower up there for Welcome Friends. But I want to get rid of all this first, and then I'll decide on a color. And this is probably going to take 2 coats, and then I'll, after everything's nice and dry, I'll put my chosen color on. But 1 coat's really doing a good job. But I really don't want any of the pictures showing through, so I am going to give this 2 coats. Okay, I got out some of my Apple Barrel Harvest Orange. This is kind of a reddish orange, and I really like it for pumpkins. And I can't remember where I got this, to be honest with you, but it's called dark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the pumpkin orange, and then I'm going to come in and do the stem and the accent lines in the brown. And you've seen me double load paintbrushes and stuff, but we'll do that after we get the base of the pumpkin done in the orange. And yeah, I'm going to be using quite a bit because it's a pretty decent size. And since I gave it the base coat of the white, this orange is going to cover nicely. Okay, this 1 coat of orange is pretty dry. I mean, it's damp, but it's workable. And I know you've seen me do this before. I'm putting orange. And now I'm going to put a little bit of brown next to it. Now I'm going to take a big flat brush, and I'm going to dip it in the orange, I'm going to get it pretty full of the orange, and then I'm going to take just a little dab on the corner of the brown. And just go back and forth and mix this in together. I'm going to add more orange and more brown as I need it. And now I'm just going to put the lines in. And you can see the little shape at the bottom, and this is what I'm using as a guide. Oops. Like I said, every time I paint, it's only paint. You can fix it. And I'm going to put just a little tiny bit of this brown on the outside. And that's just going to give it a little more dimension. And I'm going to let this dry. And if it needs any touch-up, which I can tell already it's going to need touch-up there. I don't know if you can see, it needs a little touch-up. But I'll get that when it dries. So, I'll be back when this is all dried and I'm ready to put on the second coat. Okay, now that I have this all painted, I'm going to turn these over and I'm going to paint the backs of these in white. And I'm sure it's going to take at least 2 coats. So you'll have that brown cardboard on the back. Okay, there's 1 coat of the white on the back, and it's definitely going to need 2. So I'll put the second coat on after this dries completely. Okay, I got out my little Dremel tool and I got most of that cleared out. I should be able to get one of the pumpkins in there. I have a few little marks from where the Dremel tool scratched it. So I'm just going to go over it with a just a single coat of brown paint. And then I'm going to be gluing pumpkins together. And you can see the white side is drying, almost done. And I'll be able to get this finished. In the meantime, I've got some brown, some orange. Let's see, this is Harvest Orange, and this is a dark brown, and I've got some black, and some white, and this is called Cobalt Blue. This is one of my favorites, but any color will do. So, yeah, that's the next thing I'm going to be doing. Okay, I'm going to put a little hot glue in this channel. And if it squirts out, that's fine. It can always be painted over. But I would rather have more in here than I need than not enough. And to be honest with you, I was thinking that if you don't have this little base, or for that matter, if you don't have the Dremel tool to clean out this little channel, you could always use those blocks that the Dollar Tree has in their toy section. They're like Jenga blocks, And you could very easily put them on either side of the little sign. Okay, now I'm going to put a little more on the front because I don't know if you can see, it only touches in here. So I'm just going to add more glue to the front and back, and like I said, I can paint this so it won't show. I could put moss in here. I mean, there's so many things that you could do to cover it up. But to be honest with you, I think I'm going to use just paint. Yeah, slowly turn it. And add some glue to the back. Okay, this is, I don't know if you can see it, it's still a little wiggly. So I did have this on hand. I don't have any of those Jenga blocks. But I did have this on hand, and this was originally from the Dollar Tree. So I'm just going to glue these up here to give it just a little more stability, and I'll do this side and then do it on the other side and give it a coat of brown paint. Okay, I glued those little blocks on and painted them brown, and now that this is pretty much cooled down, I'm going to lay this pumpkin down, and I'm going to be gluing this on top of it. And I'm making sure that I keep the stem on this side. I'm just going to use hot glue to do this. Okay, I put the glue under here, and I'm just going to hold it for a little while. And I'm probably going to put some weight on it and just let it sit for a little bit. But then when I'm done with that, I'm going to repeat the same thing with this, making sure I put this stem, oops, there you go, making sure I put this stem on top of this. Okay, this was a little top heavy for the base that I had, so I just decided to add 8 more of the little blocks in the front and in the back. And I filled the I, the E, and part of the N in over top of this stem. I really wish that I was good at using power tools. I'm not. I'm one of the most accident-prone people I know. So instead of cutting that stem off, I just painted over. Okay, I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to get started on the white side. Okay, there's the top tiny pumpkin. And what I want to do is, I'm turning this into a snowman. So what I want to do is I want to give it 2 eyes, and I'm going to keep them kind of close to the center of the pumpkin. And once I get that done, then I can finish everything else. The paints that I have out are orange, white, brown, blue, and black. And I think I'm going to be able to do this entire little snowman with just those colors. But I've got a rounded brush, and I'm just going to like I said, I want it towards the center. And I'm going to keep playing with this until I can get it just a little bit wider. Then with the orange, I'm going to do the carrot for the nose, and we'll put in a little mouth. Okay, I've got a detail brush and some more black paint, and I'm going to give this little guy some eyelashes. And yeah, you know this is my thing, because it gives it personality. Okay, I'll take a little bit of white and give it a direction line which you've seen me do umpteen times. And right there it now has a little more dimension to the eyes, and it's now looking towards the, well, my left, its right. And I'm going to keep using this detail brush. And since I have it looking this way, I'm going to let its little nose go that way. And I'm going to fill this in, and then I'm going to use just a tiny bit of brown to give it the lines the carrots have. And there's a little bit of brown on the brush, and I'm not going to do too much, but just enough to give it that little tiny bit of dimension. And I don't know if you can see that that one brown line is just a little bit thick, so I'm just going to add a little bit of orange. Because like I've told you, when you paint, it's just paint. You can paint over. Okay, now I'm going to take the end of a thick paintbrush, and I think I'm going to use this sponge brush, and I'm going to dip that into some black paint, and I'm just going to give it its little mouth. It's no real... Well, I don't know if I like that. I'm going to go with a different paintbrush, I think. Okay, I just used the end of a large paintbrush to dot in the little mouth. I'm not sure what I'm going to do for its little buttons yet, but I want to work on the hat next. So what I'm going to do is, this is it's a medium-sized flat paintbrush, and I'm just going to dip that in the blue. And I'll be putting detail in with this after it all dries. But I'm just going to give him a little tassel cap. And I'm doing blue because of my grandson. I mean, he just adored seeing it put together when it was just pumpkins, and he has no idea that I'm doing the snowman side, and I can't wait for him to see it. So I'm just going to fill this in, and I'm going to go all the way up with that, and then down here I'm going to give him a little scarf. And while I'm painting this, I'm going to charge my battery. To cover the wood blocks on the bottom, I put some of the silk leaves and some of the berries, and it just completely covers that. And then on the snowy side, I covered it with Snow Rider. And yeah, this is getting low. I'm going to have to get some more of this. But it gives it a little more finished look. I gave him a scarf and used a little bit of white in here to make it look like the knot, and I added some fringe. And what I'm going to do up here, now that this is all dry, and that only took one coat, but what I'm going to do is, and you've seen me do this umpteen times, and it's one of my favorite ways of adding things to paint without having to go insane. You can see I've got the blue with a little bit of white in the corner. And I'm just going to come across here to make the brim of the hat. And I could actually do this with a detail brush. But I always like the way that adding the lighter color to the corner gives it a softer look. And then I'm just going to give it the little lines so that it looks like it's been knitted. And this little guy is about done. And I didn't see any need to put anything up here. I just wanted it in where it looks like the brim of the hat. And I was going to write something like "Let It Snow" on the bottom, but I don't think it needs it. I like it the way it is. So if you like what you saw, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and happy creating, everyone.